Hello my dear student, this is the third class of software engineering. So in the last class we have discussed about different types of software lifecycle models. My name is Devashish Padi, faculty, Department of BCA, Chikiti Mahavidyalaya. Okay. So in the last class we have discussed about what is SDLC and why this SDLC is important in the development of software engineering. Okay, next we have already discussed about waterfall model. What is the disadvantage of your waterfall model? Okay, so let us take a review of all these things. Software lifecycle model is otherwise called as SDLC method, software development lifecycle model. What is the main objective of software lifecycle model? Whenever any type of software team adopt this software lifecycle model, it always produce a good quality of software. Good quality of software means the software can be produced with a reasonable time and affordable cost. Okay, these two things are very much important. First one is reasonable time and second one is affordable cost. Okay, so why I am using software lifecycle model? So that any type of software can be delivered with a reasonable time period and affordable cost. It must have a matured process. Matured process means if I am developing one software, that software must follow any type of good quality model, must adopt any type of good quality model. Okay, and in the last class we have already discussed what is generally SDLC. SDLC is nothing but it is a diagrammatic representation of all the process model. Diagrammatic representation means what is the entry point and what is the exit point. Okay, then today we will just review what is SDLC, why it is SDLC. After that we will discuss one small model. That model is nothing but my build and fix model. Okay, there are 6 phases of SDLC. First one is known as my requirement gathering and analysis. Second one is known as design. Third one is known as implementation or coding. Fourth one is known as testing. Fifth one is known as deployment. Sixth one is maintenance. All these steps we have already discussed in the last class of waterfall model. See, SDLC model is a basic method. By adopting SDLC, all the methods, all the life cycle models was derived. That means these 6 steps must be somehow present in all the life cycle models. Okay, so first we will discuss what is requirement gathering and analysis. In the last class we have already discussed about requirement gathering and analysis. Requirement gathering and analysis means before developing the software team must go to the client side, and in the client side they discuss with the client what is their requirement. For example, in the last class we have already discussed about, let us consider I am developing a software for a college. So the team members must go to the college and ask each and every department what is their requirement. For example, they go to the library, and in the libraries they ask to the library staff what is their requirement, or whatever task they will be do in the computerized manner. Okay, so the team members must go to each and every department: the library department, the academic department, the examination department, the sports department. They will go to each and every department and ask questions to the client. Ask a question to the client means what is their requirement, in which manner they will satisfy or they will use the software. Okay, that means here the business requirements are gathered. Business requirement means what is the requirement of this client, or you can say that business requirement means whatever task they were doing in pen and paper, that task must be computerized by the help of the software. Okay, this phase is the main focus of the project manager and stakeholders. Project managers means the main staff of project who lead the project, or you can say that project lead or project manager. Stakeholders means who will use the project. Meeting with managers, stakeholders and users are held in order to determine the requirement. Different types of meetings, different types of questions are asked to the managers, the stakeholders and the users who are using the software. Okay, who is going to use the system? Though the staff of the college, the staff of the different departments of the college, who will use the software? The team members, the project manager, the project leader will ask each and every person about the software. Okay, and the main important thing is how will they use the system, in which manner they will use the system, what data should be input to the system. That means in the college information system, in the college project, what are different inputs? Different inputs means, let us consider in the examination section. In the examination section, different inputs are student mark, student name, student roll number, student date of birth. This is known as the different types of input in the examination section. Examination section means the main important thing is different types of marks will secured by the student in different term and examination and different internal examination. These are the different types of input to the examination section. Similarly, if you go to the joining section, what are the different inputs? Different inputs are name of the student, date of birth of the student, address of the student, phone number of the student, email address of the student, then how much money he or she will deposit in joining time. These all the things are the different types of input to the system. Okay, if you go to the sports department, in the sports department, different inputs are name of the student, department of the student, from which department the student belongs. Okay, then whether he will play for international, whether he will play for national, whether he will play for just the inter college. So these are the different input to the sports department. So in the requirement gathering stage, these type of inputs are collected from the client side. What data should be output by the system? If I am giving the input, what is the output to the system? See, output of the system may be the required expectation of the user. What the user actually expect, that is the output. What the user actually expect is the output by the system. Let us consider the client side ask the client side expect the result may be in a tabular format with a good looking GUI format. So the output must be according to the client's expectation. These are general questions that gather answer during a requirement gathering phase. After requirement gathering, these requirements are analyzed for the validity and possibility of incorporating the requirement in the system to be developed is also studied. That means all the gathering should be collected by the client side and check whether the requirements are valid or invalid. Okay, so this is known as requirement gathering and analysis, and we have already discussed that after the requirement gathering phase, all the requirements must be collected in a document. That document is known as my SRS document, software requirement specification document. Okay, then after the requirement gathering phase complete, the next phase is design phase. What is in the design phase? We have already discussed. In this phase, the system and software design is prepared from the requirement specification which were studied in the first phase. Whatever requirements are gathered from the first phase, that is designed in the design phase. Design means, in the last class we have already discussed, in the design phase, the team members design different types of diagrams, and by seeing the diagrams in the later on phase, coding must be done. Okay, so system design helps in specifying hardware and system requirement, and also helps in define overall system architecture. Also in the design phase, it specify hardware and system requirements. Hardware requirements means to develop the project, what type of hardwares are required. Hardware means types of processor, how much memory it requires. Okay, so this is known as hardware. And system requirements means different types of software for developing the project. What is the different types of system requirements? Okay, the system design specifications serve as the input for the next phase of the model. Okay, so these things we have already discussed in the last class. Next stage is implementation and coding. Before implementation, the first phase is coding phase. After coding, the software is implemented. On receiving system design document, the work is divided into different modules or units, and actual coding is started. Since in this phase the code is produced, so it is the main focus for the developer. This is the longest phase of the software development lifecycle. What is done in the coding phase? Now whatever we are designing in the design phase, that design must be implemented in the coding phase. Coding phase means in this phase we have written the source code of the program. The source code must be written in any type of programming language which have already discussed in the feasibility study. Which type of language I am using? Let us consider I am using Java or .NET language. So that means the code must be in the Java language. Okay, and this is the longest phase of software development life cycle. See, coding phase is the most challenging phase of software development. Okay, so this is the most longest phase of software development. This is the challenging phase, and this is very difficult phase in the software development life cycle model. Okay, after coding phase, next phase is testing phase. What is generally testing? In the testing phase, we will find out the different types of errors that will occur in the coding phase. Okay, whenever I am writing the code, whenever I am writing the source code must be tested. Why I am testing? Now sir, testing must be required for finding out the errors in the program. Okay, different types of testings are available: white box testing, black box testing, system testing, acceptance testing. These types of testings are generally present in your software engineering course. Okay, we will discuss testing unit in the last unit of your software engineering. Okay, next phase is deployment. After successful testing, the product is delivered or deployed to the customer for the use. After finding out all the errors, whenever the software is full-fledged, the software is successfully delivered to the client side. That means now the software is in a position to use. Okay. Next phase is maintenance. See, this is the long-lasting phase of software development lifecycle. Okay. Whenever the software is delivered to the client side, the client starts using this software. Whenever the client starts using, sometimes there may be arises some problem that was not detected in the testing phase. Okay, so that problems must be corrected by the maintenance phase. Second use of maintenance phase is always software requires upgradation. Always software requires upgradation. Upgradation means always software requires new features. New features are always added in the software. So these new features will be added in the maintenance phase. Okay, so this is the long lasting phase. This process where the care is taken for the developed product. See, this process where the care is taken for the developed product. What product will be developed, the care must be taken in the maintenance phase. Okay, next. Then why I am using SDLC? We have discussed in the last class why I am using SDLC. Okay, it helps to understand the entire process. Okay, what software I am using, what software I am developing, that must be understood by the help of SDLC method. See, if I am not using any type of model, if I am not using software development lifecycle models, then there is no rule and regulation for development of software, or there is no rule and there is no engineering process for development of software. There is no entry phase, there is no exit phase. Entry phase means there is no requirement, no feasibility study, there is no maintenance. If I am not using any type of life cycle model, then any type of member can start any phase at any time. Let us consider some members will start design phase before requirement. Some team members will start coding phase before design phase. If I am developing such type of software, then software will be crashed, software will be failed in some moment of time. That means every software, every project must follow one of the model of software engineering. That may be my red model, that may be my V model, that may be my spiral model, that may be my waterfall model. See, waterfall model is not the practical use of model, but I am saying here that may be the prototype model, that may be my incremental model. Which type of model I am using, I must follow one model so that my software will be developed in a engineered way, in a disciplined way, so that whenever I am completing my development of software, the software is a full-fledged software that will be used by the client in an easy way. So this is the requirement of SDLC. Okay. Next thing is, these are the different life cycle models. So in the last class I have already discussed about the classical waterfall model, and we have already discussed the problems of classical waterfall model. Okay, so before going to the iterative model, or you can say that iterative waterfall model. First, we will discuss one small model that is not in your syllabus, that is known as my build and fix model. This is the first model, build and fix model. What is generally build and what is generally fix? See. Okay, build and fix model. We have already discussed about software lifecycle model. We have already discussed about SDLC. We have already discussed about why I am using SDLC model. Okay, we have already discussed in the last class classical waterfall model. Today we will discuss one small model that is known as build and fix model. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic way of a build and fix model. Okay, this is the diagrammatic representation of my build and fix model. What it says, now first the software is build. First the software is build. After that, build means the code is written. Build means the code is written here. See, here no design phase is there, no requirement phase is there, no feasibility study is there. From the beginning, first the software is built. The software is built means source code is written directly. So you will understand what is the problem. If I don't know the requirement exactly, if I don't know the design exactly, if I don't know the feasibility study, how can one team must write the code for the project? How the software team members write the project? Okay, this is the problem. See, so this is the build first version. Build first person means first you write the project. After that, it is transferred to the client side. After writing the code, it must be transferred to the client side. No testing is there. Okay, transferred directly to the client. After transferring to the client, if the client is satisfied, then it will go to the maintenance phase. If the client is satisfied with the project, then it will go to the maintenance phase. If the client is not satisfied, it will again go to the build stage. That means again it will go to the software team members to develop the project again. Okay, so this process is carried out until the client is satisfied. After so many steps will over, when the client is satisfied, it will go to the maintenance phase. And if in the maintenance phase, if some problems will be arised, it again go to the modify stage, it again go to the build stage. That means this is not a practical model. Okay, I am using this model just for your understanding. Okay, there is no initial state, no final state. See, after the maintenance phase, this is known as retirement step. Retirement step means if the project is totally failed, if the project is not working properly, it is totally failed. See, this mark is for development and this mark is for maintenance. Okay, to see what is build and fix model, this is the this is the worst, this software, this is the worst model for developing a project. Okay, what is generally built? Now in this phase the software code is developed. What I was saying later on, the software code is developed and passed to the next phase. Okay, here the software code is written and passed to the client side. Okay, In this phase, the code is developed in the build phase is made error free. Also, in addition to the correctness to the code is modified according to the user requirement. According to the user requirement, the code is modified again and again. This model is completely unsatisfactory and should not be adopted. This model is not satisfied by the any software team and it should not be adopted. Okay. The initial product is built, which is then repeatedly modified until satisfied the user. What I was saying, that is, the software is developed and delivered to the user. The user checks whether the desired functions are present or not. If the functions are not present according to the needs, by adding, modifying or deleting functions. I can add some function according to the user requirement. Which functions are not used, that must be deleted. Okay, this process goes on until the user feels that the software can be used properly. Okay, adding and deleting will be repeatedly work until it can be adopted by the client. However, the lack of design requirement and repeated modification result in loss of acceptability of the software. Okay, repeated modified will result in accepting the software. Thus, software engineers are strongly discouraged from using this development approach. Software engineering team, software team members never use this build and fix model. What is the advantage here? Now it requires less experience. No experience is required. Why no experience required? I am directly writing the code and deliver to the client side. If the client is not satisfied, then it again goes to the software engineers. Software engineers again write the code, again transfer it to the client side. So it does not require any experience, and it is suitable for smaller software. Smaller software means the college project. Okay, it requires less project planning, or you can say that no project planning is there. Okay, so this is not used. Then disadvantage I have already told you. Okay, cost is always high. Okay, design, there is no design. Informal design means no design is there. We have already seen in the diagram. Maintenance of this model is problematic. Okay, maintenance is very problematic. Okay, next we have already discussed about the waterfall model. Just I will say some lines of waterfall model. It is the fast process model, and it is also called as classical waterfall model. Okay, it is very simple. Okay, you can see the outline here. What is here? Now, define before design and design before code. What is the meaning here? Now it says if I am writing the code, then before that I must do the design. Before design I must define the project. Okay, so this is known as define before design, design before code. Okay, this model expects complete and accurate requirements early in the process. In the first phase, all the requirement must be mentioned, which is unrealistic. Okay, this is unrealistic. Whenever I start the project, this is impossible to find out all the requirement change time to time by the client side. Okay, so this is very unrealistic that whenever I start the project, before starting the project, all the requirement must be gathered. See, requirement means expectation of the customer. What is the expectation of customer? Expectation always change from time to time. Whatever we are using in the day-to-day life, our expectation always change from time to time. Okay, so similarly, whenever we develop the project, the client also wants some new thing time to time. So requirement is not a small task in a project. Okay, so this is the diagrammatic representation we have already discussed in the last class. This model is named as waterfall model because its diagrammatic representation resembles a cascade of waterfall. See, since water flows in the waterfall, likewise manner this diagram will be carried out. So this is known as my waterfall model. It resembles like a waterfall. Okay, so first stage is requirement analysis, second stage is system design, then is implementation, testing, deployment, maintenance. We have already discussed requirement analysis means all the requirement must be gathered. Whatever requirement we have gathered, that must be specified in the SRS document. Okay, that SRS document will be go to the system design phase. In the system design phase, hardware and software requirement must be done. The diagrams are carried out in the system design phase. After system design phase, coding and implementation must be done. Source code is written. Okay, then find out the errors. Whatever I am writing here code, that error must be find out in the testing phase. Then after testing phase, deployment means deliver the project to the client side, and after deliver it is a long process that is known as maintenance, lifetime process. This is the maintenance is the lifetime process. Okay, so this is known as waterfall model, what we have discussed in the last class. Okay, if any type of doubts is there, so please call me. Okay, this is known as requirement analysis, system design, implementation, testing, deployment, and maintenance. All these things are written in your notebook. Okay, so don't worry, if you follow this or you follow your notebook, same things are there. Okay, then the next thing what I am not teach in the last class, what is the generally application of your waterfall model. What is the application where this waterfall model is appropriate? Okay, when the project is short. Okay, project is short means it very not very large project. Okay, you can say that whenever you will do the college project in your BCA or MCA, okay, then you can take waterfall model. You can take waterfall model. Okay, no issue, you can take waterfall model. Okay, we have already done the project. Okay, so you can match your project with this waterfall application. What are the feasibility study you can take before going to the project? What is the requirement? How you design your project? How you will write the code? Okay, and how you test? You can match. Okay, everything what I have already studied you about this, all these steps. You can match with your project, with your own project, what you have done in the final year. Okay, just match it. Okay, the product definition is stable. What I am doing with my project, that must be stable. No requirement changes in the later stage. What are the requirement present? What are the requirements to the project, that must be specified in the first phase. Okay, so product definition must be stable. Technology is understood and it is not dynamic. Technology is never changed in this waterfall application model. There is no ambiguous in the requirement. No ambiguous means clear. Requirement must be clear. Ambiguity means problems. Okay, ambiguity means problem. I am saying one thing, another team member saying another thing. Okay, that is ambiguity. Ambiguity means two different things. Ambiguity means two different things. That is known as ambiguous. Ambiguous is not same. Ambiguous means not same, not clear. Requirement is not clear. What I have done, what I will do, that is not clear. That is known as ambiguous. Like what you will do in your future, if you are not clear about your aim, that means you have ambiguous aim. If you have a clear aim that after completion of my BCA I will do MCA, or I will go for any software type of job, then your aim is clear. If you are not clear about your aim, that is known as my ambiguous. Okay, ample resources with required expertise are available to support the product. Ample resources means, ample means many type of resources, large amount of resources, plenty of resources with required expertise. Required expertise means experts. If I am doing the project in Java, that means Java experts must be present to support the product. If I am do testing team must be there. Okay, if I am doing some database work, database team must be there. Okay, porting an existing product to a new platform, that is also possible. That is the application of waterfall model. Porting means transferable, but we have already studied in your Java. Transferable, Java is a porting programming language. Porting programming language means you can run Java in any platform. Okay, but C and C++ languages you cannot run in any platform. If you are writing a program in your Windows operating system and Pentium processor, you can run the program in Linux operating system and Intel processor. That means porting an existing product to a new platform is the application of waterfall model. Okay, well suited for project where requirement can be understood easily and technology decisions are easy. Okay, where requirement will be understood, clear, where requirement is clear. What I am discussed here, ambiguous requirement means requirement, no ambiguous means requirement must be clear. Okay, so can be understood easily and technology decisions are easy. That is for familiar type of a project, it still may be most optimum. Okay, see from the first class, your first class, I have already told you this is the theoretical model. Theoretical model means this model is not practically used in any industry, but all the model follow the waterfall application. Whatever phases are there, feasibility study, requirement analysis, design, coding, testing, maintenance, implementation, all the things follow all the models. Okay, next thing is, what is the advantage? What is the advantage? This model is very simple and easy to understand. Okay, it is a linear model. Linear model means, what is the meaning of linear? Linear means it is very simple. This model is very simple to implement in a real life. Then waterfall model works well for smaller project where requirements are very well understood. What I have discussed in the previous slide. Documentation is produced at every stage of the software development. Documentation means SRS document. Okay, after every major stage of software coding, testing is done to check the correct running of the code. Okay, after coding, testing must be done. Okay, why testing is needed? To find out the error. Sets requirement stability. Then what is the main disadvantage? We've already discussed here. High risk is there. Okay, then here see, this is the main important. You cannot go back a step. If the design phase has gone wrong, things can get very complicated in the implementation phase. That means if you are in the implementation phase, suppose I am in the implementation phase, some errors are in the design phase. That means I can never go to the implementation stage to the design stage. Okay, and it is a not good model for long project or complex project or object oriented project. Okay, we have already discussed this model is very suitable for your small project. This is not good for complex oriented project. Okay, then what is the problem, disadvantage and problem? All these things are same. Okay, next thing is iterative model. See, what is the problem in classical waterfall model that must be resolved in the iterative waterfall model? See the diagram here. First, the painting is sketched roughly. I can paint the sketch roughly here. Okay, here. See the first figure. Okay, here the painting is done roughly. After that, it is somehow modified. Okay, it is somehow clear. And in the third figure, see in the third figure, it is totally cleared. That means the product is developed in a stepwise manner. First I think what I can develop here, then that is roughly manner. Okay, this is totally somehow clear from this first figure, and in this third line this is totally clear. Okay, this thing is writing here whole painting is sketched roughly, then in the second iteration colors are filled, and the third iteration finishing is done. Hence iterative model means stepwise step. Always remember, iterative means stepwise manner. What do you mean by iterative? Iterative means it will develop the product stepwise step manner. First rough requirement, then some type of improvement, then totally cleared figure. Okay, then the next diagram is okay. Here no design, no implementation, no analysis is there. See, in the first stage some design is done. Design 1 means some type of design, implement some type of implementation, some analysis is done. After that some design, some implementation, some maintenance. After that some design, some implementation, some maintenance. After that total design, total implementation, total model. That means here no design, here fully designed. Here no implementation, here fully implemented. Here no analysis, here fully analysis. Okay, so iterative model means phase wise manner your software is developed. Okay, see, this is the diagram: requirement specification, system design and software design, implementation and unit testing, integration and system testing, operation and maintenance. And see, this is the important line. See, this is the important line. This is the important line. Important line means what? What is this line? Sir, this line is nothing but my feedback lines. This line is known as my feedback lines. Feedback lines means what in the waterfall, classical waterfall model diagram, this feedback line is not present. See, in the classical waterfall model, the feedback line is not present. But in the iterative waterfall model, the feedback line is present. This is the main difference between your classical waterfall model and iterative waterfall model. In the exam, if classical waterfall model will ask, then these feedback lines are not present in your diagram. But iterative waterfall model means this feedback line must be present. Okay, this is the main difference. Or totally both the things are same. Okay. Why this feedback line is required? See, what is the problem in the classical waterfall model? In the classical waterfall model, if integration and system testing, I am in the integration and system testing phase, if any problem is in the system design phase, I cannot move backward. Okay, that means software is totally crashed. If I am in the maintenance phase, if some problem is the unit testing phase or implementation phase, then I cannot go back to the implementation phase. But this problem is resolved in the iterative waterfall model. If some problem is in the implementation phase, then can I move back to the implementation phase. Let us consider I am in the integration phase. Some problems are occurred in the system design phase. Then I can move backward to the system design phase. if I am in the operation and maintenance phase and some problems are in the requirement analysis phase, then this way, this feedback line, you can go to the requirement stage. This is the main difference between classical waterfall model and iterative waterfall model. In the classical waterfall model, you cannot go back to the previous step if some problem is there. But in the iterative waterfall model, if some problem is occurred in your phase, then you can move backward to your previous phase. This is the main difference between classical waterfall model and iterative waterfall model. And iterative waterfall model, the development is done in a phase-wise manner. Okay. Next, strength. I have already discussed with you what is the strength. Okay, feedback path is there. Early feedback is generated here. Okay. Then emphasis on reuse. Okay, bold lines. Emphasis on reuse. Reuse can be done. We are building and improving the product step by step. Hence, we can track the defects at early stages. We can develop the product step by manner so that any type of problems can be find out in the stage. Okay. And less time is spent on documenting and more time is given for designing. In iterative model, this is the important thing. For documentation, less time is required, and for implementation and designing, coding, more time is there. Okay. Then what is the weakness? It requires good planning and design. Rework may increase. Okay. Cost of the system architecture may be increased. Okay. So these are the weakness of your iterative waterfall model. Okay. Then when I am using iterative waterfall model, when I am using classical waterfall model, now when the software is small and risk is less, but when the risk of the long project cannot be taken here also. Okay. It is used commonly in business who want quick response for software. Okay. Then lengthy development schedules, where lengthy development is there, we can use iterative, but small development you can use normal classical waterfall model. Okay. On a project with new technology, where new technology is required, you can use iterative waterfall model, and this is when the project is big. When the project is small, you can use classical waterfall model. When the project is big, you can use iterative waterfall model. Okay. Then this is the difference between your classical waterfall and iterative waterfall model. Okay, two questions are here. Which software development model is best suited for frequently changing requirement? That means when software requires large amount of changes, to which model I am using. Second question is, which software development model is best suited when the client's requirement are changing near the release date? When I am release the software, when I am deliver the software, and the client side changes one requirement. Okay, these questions are totally same. That means he asks whenever the client requires repeatedly change in the software, which model you can use. Okay, what is the answer? The answer is my iterative development. Okay, iterative development means phase wise development. Okay, phase wise development. Okay, so this is all about your software development lifecycle model. Build and fix model, classical waterfall model, iterative waterfall model. Okay, dear student, in the home you go through all my recording, and in any step if you find any problem, so please ask me. Okay, please call me or please WhatsApp me. Hope you are safe in your home. Okay, goodbye.